Greetings, peace. Give our honor to the source of the creator. Ancestors known and unknown. I was kind of hesitant on even making this. But then, spirit convict your ass and tell you, hey, make that video, bucko. So that being said, it's amazing because I'm in my backyard, right? And my daughter just going, I got a cough drop, so if you hear me sucking on the cough drop, but anyhow, everything be divine timing because I knew my baby, my princess was trying to feel a little better. And put a blanket out in the yard. But she wanted to lay out in the yard, her mom said. And she ended up, with the wind and the perfect temperature, ended up dozing off on the blanket. And I'm just like, okay, perfect time to do a video. The wind's blowing, so I want to position it like in a good place. Because this topic is very insightful. I start to realize more and more. I'm gonna make this a little easier. That's what I thought I was. Oh, I can't actually. What a bird is that? Okay, yeah. See if I lean that way. Hopefully it stand up. Yeah, so I started to learn more and more, or dive a little bit more deeper as I start to see the restoration with this spiritual journey, this human experience, whatever you want to call it, this journey, this life. And something came to me. Shout out to I'm trying to think. She has 2 channels, but is it Sam? How you say that? Saffron's. Okay, I remember her other channel. I think it's Akashic Tarot or Akashic Prince. Akashic Prince. So either way, I got a lot of insight, which kind of like a lot of things I watch and receive gives me a lot of confirmation, clarity, or insight to realize, like, y'all hear me talk about like karma, you hear me talk about lessons, you hear me talk about a lot of things and such. And the reason this is so vital is because, oh, that feels so good. This is so vital because it makes me remind me, like, to inform people, like, when you think about processing or navigating through your lineage, who you're connecting to, and not knowing the importance of what's connected to them. And it's not so much as just trying to be perfect and righteous in everything you do. It's more so the awareness around what you're unknowingly taking on karmically, energetically, spiritually. So when I reference spiritual, it's more so the lessons you don't realize you're taking on with a person or individual that it's almost like you know nothing about, really. Like, who do we really know if you really don't know the depths of, like, who they are, what they've been through, what they hold on to, and so forth. And I love this shit because as I learn more, as some may call it, like, vibrate higher or learn more about who I am, know to the depths of who I am, I see the importance of just to whom is given much is required verse, or just the responsibility. Because I wanted to elaborate more on even the fact of how the world has made us focus so much on the reward rather than the responsibility that comes with the reward. And it's kind of, I'm gonna try to tie these two in, or connect these two with this focusing, how the world has made us focus more on the reward rather than the responsibility that comes with it. Perfect example is, this cough drop doing this justice. Perfect example is like a child. Some of us were birthed by people who didn't care for the responsibility. Let me get some. I gotta get some of this sound. Care so much for the responsibility of what comes with the reward in that. Just imagine how many people don't see their children or creation as a reward, but then the responsibility you have with that. Meaning, so I guess I'm gonna just dedicate this first part to that. The reward in knowing that you're giving life, or have you the awareness around how people connect and you bring forth life. There's a responsibility that comes with that. Now, how many people see that as a rewarding thing? Now, it all depends on the mindset, the illusion cast to make people feel like their life is just burdensome, or some people feel like their life is just burdened because of what they were born into. Now, when it comes to be a generational curse breaker, a cycle breaker, there's a responsibility that comes with the reward of having gifts, whether that be through arts, music, spiritual gifts, insight, clairvoyance, clairaudience, whatever you want to call it. There's an awareness and a responsibility to even the protection of that. Because being responsible or being accountable is seeing that vital as something that is important, that is a priority. And in that, a lot of people don't know the importance of how sacred, how protective, okay, that wind blowing, how protective, that is, or how in that the responsibility is a form of protection. And so, to elaborate more on that, I'm gonna just put it right here. To elaborate more on that, that's the beauty of what I start to realize. Like, a lot of people not seeing that. Well, not even just a lot of people. It's just the awareness, the conscious awareness, and even the responsibility in having the courage to even do something different in your world, in your life. And to protect that, there's a responsibility with that. So a child, or a life, is a form of that. That made me bring up the fact that I was fucking reflecting yesterday, the wind not blowing, I was reflecting yesterday on the fact of like how bamboozled people have to actually believe. I was saying, like, bro, there's people really out here, like, niggas or people try to literally convince me. And this shows how much people don't, not even just a self-awareness, but don't care about who they are, what they create, their own seeds, especially if they want their sons and or daughters to just go. I knew it was coming. But for their sons and daughters just to go down way of life, just simply, without questioning, like, anything when it comes to, that's better. Anything when it comes to just the awareness around, like, how they're going to live their life, or having some type of input or conscious input on, like, where their life is going. And it's like, even the sirens is like that's like confirmation for like that shit is alarming to realize like how people don't care enough. And it really reflects like when you think about, like I said, the fucking narrative, the nerve of people to push a narrative for me not to care about my own life. So therefore, in not caring about my inner child, why should I care about my own child? I feel like that definitely reflects like your internal world does reflect your external world. And so with that, I was telling myself like, bro, that says a lot about what can no longer be ignored as we bring more awareness to, whether you want to call it judging, but more so holding the accountability or holding the mirror up to people who, as I've said before in previous videos, you can't expect a man and a woman who's pushing a narrative of a low frequency, or even just the fact of like not caring how your daughter carries herself sexually, her identity around how to be a woman, to walk in integrity, to have self-respect, and even men pushing narratives and shit. Y'all gotta realize there's a shift. So now with that, how important it is, I'm sitting here like, bro, you know how vital it is to even, how magical and how powerful it is to have, knowing that you naturally, organically have an influence on your child's life just as much as the people that were in your life before. But then to think about this, how powerless people really are to allow other people, and this leads right into what I'm about to get into, to allow other people to influence their life. And this is on the spiritual level as well, to allow people or things to influence their life without having a sense of confidence and awareness around how to direct or even realize, like, to have their own train of thought or to think for themselves or do for themselves. So you want me, from whomever that's guiding you or whomever in your life, to take on a narrative as a free spirit or just as a sovereign person, being, whatever, to actually take on a narrative to believe that I should walk a path that's going to not only lead me to self-destruction, but if I have children, it's literally going to ripple to them. So you're telling me I should have more responsibility I should be more consistent in being irresponsible for my well-being than being responsible for it. Make that fucking make sense, bro. Like, make this make sense. Y'all don't realize who has influenced the world, the reality, the universe, or whatever you want to call it. These are people that have been influenced by things. It's almost like being puppeteered. And so with that, it's like those who see spiritually, that are in tune, recognize the very thing that has been causing their lineage not to progress, causing the people around them, the environments and so forth. That's the responsibility in being able to be, for some of you, a seer, a healer, a dark light worker, whatever you want to call it, an alchemist, whatever the fuck you want to call the title. Because you got to realize, for some that do know, these are people that's already been in your lineage, but they wanted to manipulate or do things completely different. So leaning into what I was saying, just to have a leverage right now is not so much just a part of it, is the internal peace and the harmony and structure and so forth. But most people fear going through that simply because it starts from that survival or that root chakra, because basically your whole foundation and what you were familiar with will be uprooted. And through that uncomfortability, you'll be able, what will be revealed to you are the very entities, spirits, generational things that have kept that roots basically at a place of not so much stagnation, but a place of it being given off this illusion that this tree or this person or people, which is a reflection of fruit, basically giving off this illusion that what they're giving and offering is something healthy or holistic, or even, not even just righteous, but holistic, or like organic, or even at a frequency to where it supports your evolution. So now, once you start seeing people as fruit, then once you start recognizing things as your representation of a tree, I was telling my partner this, I said, most people don't know, once you create your lineage, or once you lay down with someone to create a child, you have created a bloodline. You have extended, some may call it the olive branch, but you have extended that branch of that fruit, or you're an extension of your family tree. So when you hear people mention bloodlines, then that which that came before you is a part of your bloodline. That which could be of whatever type of, what you want to call it, sorcery, magic, natural gifts, artistry. All of that shit is a form of energy, spirit, and also whether it's coming from a place of authenticity, love, integrity, all of those things matter. So if it wasn't coming from that, then what does that tell you? You are here to change the trajectory and direction of that. In that imbalance, in that impurity, in that that rottenness, I'm telling you, I got a masterpiece I'm about to create. Because it was basically the divine giving me this insight on how, once you see yourself, make sure my daughter, once you see yourself as a form of like fruit or righteous fruit, then you realize that you have to recognize what has kept you not only from being, if you're not being watered, then what is that going to tell you? If you wasn't watered in your generation, if you wasn't watered when you were growing, and what I mean by that, this is a representation of dysfunctionality in your lineage. This is a representation of toxicity. This is a representation of things that kept you from actually seeing what kept you from not extending or planting seeds in a way to where, because naturally you still plant seeds, but you wonder why your life isn't progressing. And you wonder why that what you're planting, what is hindering that, and what comes with that is the fact of how you start to recognize who is keeping your seeds from planting, who's not watering you. That's the support of what a unit or a tribe or family unit, whatever you want to call it, entails or is rooted in. So a lot of you had the responsibility in creating a whole new lineage or creating a whole new lifestyle. I had a vision years ago, a real, like, it was wild, of something connected to one of my family members. And it was like, to break it down, or it was a tree. Then all of a sudden I saw a branch collapse, like it just fell off. But it was a representation of someone. And I was like, what, who is this? And I'm not gonna say any names, it was just a representation of someone close to me. But what it was is that it was showing me that this person is cut off or no longer has access to what you are trying to extend or branch off to. Think about how they use all this shit to where you'll go to a bank, you'll go here, all this other stuff. All of this shit is not only spiritual, but it's symbolism. A branch, this branch at this bank, this branch at this library. Y'all have to realize that all of this shit, even the names that are broken down, connects to bloodlines, connects to a certain spirit. You want to call it a god, you want to call it an energy, whatever the fuck you want to call it and subscribe to, it all holds significance. Why you think certain people have names and certain things? Why you think certain banks have names? That's an energetic thing to that. So diving into more what I'm about to get into is the fact of, y'all have to realize it doesn't matter who you put forth in front of me. If anyone that has been in this last, let's say, 100 years, and then even when you're talking about bloodlines, even when you're talking about people who have did exchanges, rituals, connected to certain things beyond what y'all see on the surface, bro, there is an energetic thing tied to that. That is fruit. Did you hear what the fuck I just said? They are a representation of the fruit. It doesn't matter. I don't care what career, their status, and all that. They too will learn about what they're a part of, just as we are learning. What you think the awakening is about? So when you hear people elaborate on bloodlines and stuff like that, spiritually and so forth, it goes deeper than just what's on the surface. When you see the transfer in wealth, when you hear me talking about the transfer of certain things, because there are things that beyond the surface of what y'all know about that has made agreements way before a lot of us was incarnated. Even going back to some of you that are, let's say, indigenous or whatever nationality and so forth, this still is a bloodline. There are things when y'all talk about treaties, when you talk about covenants, when you talk about rights, when you talk about all this shit, the land and so forth, when you hear certain people talk about things biblically, the last being made first, because at a point in time, that same last was first. And you see things reoccurring. That was a gem right there. But you gotta realize these things have been reoccurring through eons, generations, and so forth, until someone comes along in said bloodline with a higher spiritual ranking. And in that higher spiritual ranking, they are, in their higher spiritual ranking, here to usher in a complete new order of things. Not rules, a higher order is at play. This is why some of you cannot be touched. Some people, once they start to really become aware, it ain't about you being touched physically. It's things that's trying to attach themselves to you spiritually. Something's really gonna happen today. I can just feel it. Just because of and that right there, after I said that, that's loud and clear. And it came through fast. Because a lot of it screams desperation. But going back to what I was saying, that the other message at hand is that there are things for a lot of us, and you, whomever you are, that everyone's at a complete different place in their journey, a different timeline, a different experience, and so forth. So that being said, everyone's evolving. Or if there's not someone right now, whether they're a black sheep, whether they're whatever it is, there's still going to be someone that come along. You know what's so amazing about this? Is that I had a book and I titled it The Last Laugh, because I knew the importance of Reverend Bob Marley. I forgot the song where he was mentioning like how you got to realize there's things that want to remove and not allow certain seeds, which are your children, to progress fruitfully. I look at that even in the sense of like my mother knew something about me spiritually just as well as my father. And I start to connect the dots when you start to realize, I think I mentioned this before, my last name is German. So when you think about dramatic text, all these things, these are things that are ancient. These are things that were way before us. So what makes you think this shit don't run through our bloodline? When I think about the indigenous women here, when I think about what has happened here, when I also ponder on the fact of even with my mother, my grandmother, their names, things that I researched to learn about their names, I embody that. I carry that too, matriarchally and patriarchally. So that being said, the honor in that is so powerful. Because there's nobody, even with, and that's the thing, is just like, the beauty in people thinking that they're cursed is the beauty in also recognizing the gift in that. Because of course, not a frequency, but a spirit or whatever it is, when people start to learn more about these things, once you start to realize that you've not only broken a chain, but let go of something, or something has been lifted from your lineage, you'll start feeling lighter. You'll start to care less about and start to recognize like the detachment or the less attachments you have to things emotionally, mentally, spiritually. well, I'm not gonna say spiritually because you have more connection with that, but less of what's in the world and realize more of that you're not of it. And so in that, going more into the fact of like, it started to hit me more, even more awareness now about people. When you think about, what is it? For we don't fight with flesh and blood, but like, principalities and high and low places, or, spiritual wickedness and so forth. So the funny thing about all of that is, as the world is being cleansed of that, the people that you once knew as, that you assumed that was of, let's say, like a higher rank or of importance, as I was mentioned before, they fade away because they don't hold, some may call it the light codes or the frequency, or some, you mentioned new earth codes, or they don't hold the light. And it's the fact of like, it's not that the light isn't there, but they just don't hold that which is bringing forth something to restore not only just balance, but they haven't did the inner work to be able to acknowledge and see the light. So just as in any transitioning through anything, that which no longer serves or is dying away will decay, will wither away. And I've been noticing that even the fact of like, when I go out into country spaces, when I go out into places and travel, the divine was like, a lot of people aren't aware of how there's a preparation. We were actually being prepared to inherit more than what we can even imagine, but it's going to be made clearer and clearer. And it's not just, it's spiritual first. It's not just financial. It's also, when you inherit or are the heir to something, that connects you to something that was spiritually in your lineage before you can actually receive it. Some people in your lineage, or some people in being that they never wanted to rise or evolve out of their lower nature or whatever it is, they had the capacity, but they didn't have, they also had they were spiritually equipped and so forth, but they didn't have the consistency and persistence. They didn't have the courage as a lot of us did. And so it won't make sense, because it's a level of things. It's an awareness around going through that. Come here, girl. Going through that initiation. No one is exempt. So when I say no one is exempt from karma, no one is exempt from going through these initiations or going through these things before they are called to receive something. It's, again, going back to the fruit. Come here, girl. Going back to the fruit is a representation of, with a spiritual eye, you're able to notice and see who these characters really are. And then you start to realize the collapse in what empire they really were a part of. And it doesn't matter their status, their creed, the money that they have. It literally is something that they can't even fight anymore. And that's the thing about the principalities, the forces, or certain things that play, because it allows people to realize, like, this wasn't a physical fight at all. When you hear about wars, it's on a expansive, more deeper level, to where it's a spiritual thing. So now, in knowing that, because knowing is half the battle, then you're able to approach it differently. Then you're able to recognize what's what, who's what, and see things. And so now it's like, at a point in time, for a lot of us thought, assumed that certain people were, their status in the world is this, so they are important. Or, and important is one thing, but value is another, especially like spiritual ranking. So when I look at, or have noticed a lot of people, and realize, like, okay, who is this person really that is in this position, that's on the surface? But then who's behind them? Who's pulling the strings? And so it's definitely representing like giving the Wizard of Oz energy, because it just shows you like what people don't realize, what a lot of people are buying it too. When you think about, when I look at people in their contracts, how they get certain things, how they receive certain things, it's meant for you to see, because think about the fact that you don't know what comes with that contract. You don't know a lot of things that come with the fact of what people have signed themselves up to. Just think about unknowingly what you didn't realize, the fine print with terms and conditions when it comes to one of my previous videos talking about like a bounty. Like a lot of things right now, the if you want to call it the devil or whatever it is, the spirits are coming to collect on a lot of things, and it's happening even more fast and rapidly. And you're going to be able to see, because whatever people assign or connected to, and when you talk about generations before, there is things that have been also attached and assigned to that. And so no one can outrun it. That's why it's so vital. Like, I'm realizing the importance of coming out of codependency and stepping into your own power, stepping into your own independence, because you can see how people who want to thrive and stay afloat, they will naturally want to cling, or that which is attached to them spiritually will want to attach itself to you for almost like a free meal, or siphon the energy which has already been happening but could no longer happen anymore. So that's why I was like, bro, when I think about a lot of people that's a part of certain things, it doesn't really surprise me, the humiliation, you know, the things that they go through. It's just like a child being embarrassed in front of the public. So when I see a humiliation, you know, when I see certain shit on TV and for the public and stuff, I'm like, this person not only doesn't have integrity, but it shows the awareness around what they're willing to do for said contract, for even just the experience, or even the fact of not to be in authenticity or integrity. So a lot of which, and eventually, that's the awareness of enlightenment that they're going to come into, like being the fool. And we all been there. So most people aren't ready to evolve or expand past what they're familiar with. And so that's what that old world narrative is. It's like what people are familiar with. So a lot of what y'all think is fruit, and a lot of what you've been eating from, you're going to be able to see clearly. It don't matter what I don't give a fuck if they royalty. I don't care about none of that shit. What y'all call royalty or whatever it is, doesn't still mean that they aren't rotten inside. Doesn't still mean that they have things attached to them. Doesn't mean that they have, when it comes to the bigger picture of humanity and so forth, doesn't at all mean that they hold codes. Because if what you see and play out is the fact of not just a collapse mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and physically, but that has a lot to do with even come here. That's a lot to do with the collapse and the spirits collecting. Just wipe it on there. Grab the blanket and wipe it. You got it? You can blow your nose on there. You want to come inside? Hey, girl. You thought I'm talking to you? I'm talking to my princess. Come on. Come here. My little buddy right here. Come on. What you looking at, the birds? My little cat. Come here. She walking the other way. Feel better now? Still good, man. But anywho, and this is for people that either resonate or will come online eventually to realize, like, it becomes even more funny when you realize, like, that meaning of being in the world but not of it, because it really is so vital to have peace in your own world first, within your own self. I'm telling you, bro, the other day, like, even the season that we're in, Aries, all this stuff going on, everything that's happening, all these transits just literally reveal what's internalized and what people can't hold on to anymore. That's why through evolution or through your own personal journey, how you realize, like, doing the inner work, you'll be able to focus more on something that people previously to you in generations, it was attainable, but they just didn't do the inner work to get to that place of seeing the importance of getting away, moving away, doing the spiritual work, cleansing themselves, healing themselves, certain shit, to realize, like, this doesn't only just affect me, but it affects everyone involved. Like I said, that shit is so foolish to think that. It shows you how careless people didn't, like, even when I see people or anything focus on not care about their well-being, I stay fucking far away from them. Because you can't possibly think, just like we were treating, that won't have an effect on you. Birds of a feather flock together. When people just soak up these things, I just be like, whoa. Like I said, that represents the fact of, like, some kids the other day. I saw a guy that I knew that supported me with, I had to put my daughter training wheels on. I didn't have the socket. And it was just like, hey, what's up, man? And I, walk into the park and I saw, I could just tell the vibe of kids was about to fight and shit. I was like, he was going to get his kids. I was like, what's up? People fucking with your kids, huh? He was like, man. I said, I just had to deal with some of them, man. I was like, but I had to see the bigger picture, because I had to recognize, for one, again, when you look at fruit, when you think about what a lot of kids have been fed, even myself when I was young, a lot of things that have been given to us is a form of reflecting the fruit. Is a form of looking at things from a perspective of them being watered and how they're being watered. Because if they're being fed poison, then they're going to reflect that in, like, that seed being who they are, their essence, reflect the fruit that they offer to the world, what they give. So, man, I just realized, like, there is a responsibility in pouring in yourself, loving on yourself. Because then no matter what your child sees, no matter what is exposed to them, they can come back home to self. They can realize, like, find that balance again. And that's what this is about. All of what I'm expressing is the fact of the world has wanted to convince people to stay imbalanced and wonder why their life is the way it is. And that goes for everyone. But then when you find balance again, you protect that balance. That doesn't mean being perfect. No, because trust me, when I was over there with them kids saying some stuff, I went right into integrity mode. Hey, listen, bro, this ain't that. And if you think I'm not going to protect myself and my kids when I'm around my kids, not at all. Like, stop. Don't do that. But what I saw play out the other day was the man, my daughter and them at the park, riding a bike, and seeing my son go up, and then, again, you can just hear the chatter. You can feel it in the air. And all of a sudden, kids start fighting. And, you can't control it. And I just tell my daughter, hey, come over here, play. Tell my son, because he's in his own world, but her awareness is different than his. But then seeing the father that I talked to earlier, it was his kid. He come over there trying to break it up. Then one of the boys probably had to be, I kid you not, like 9 or 10. And he goes to pick up something on the playground. I'm looking, I'm like, bro, it's like one of them kitchen knives. It had to at least be 12 to 13 inches. I'm like, and he was telling the little boys, man, I should have grabbed this. Look what I had. I was like, and my daughter looking the other way at my son, and I was like, bro, do you not realize that you can go to fucking, like, the police will probably shoot you over that? Or probably whatever it is. Like, you can go to jail over, man, it was wild, because to see this stuff play out was a reflection of, again, I tell y'all about fruit, environments, people. what's been plaguing almost, not just the humanity, but plaguing the generations of them them not seeing the importance of living amongst each other. Y'all don't realize, like, some people here, beings, spiritual, whatever the fuck you want to call it, everyone's mission here ain't to be dysfunctional or to be whatever the fuck you want to call it. Some people are peaceful beings. And the part of karma is navigating through that to get back to that. To recognize what is valuable, to recognize what is worth your energy, what is worth this, to restore peace. I keep telling y'all, some of y'all generational curse breakers or cycle breakers is to restore peace within yourself. And as you see that, you will be able to see how not at peace people are in their life, and then what they want to bring to you, because a part of what they see in you and on you, they want to disrupt. And that's more on a spiritual level, entity, all that other shit. And doing the inner work, for those who know, has a lot to do with moving towards that. With integrity. Because a lot of these people y'all don't know, no matter their status, you're going to see how not at peace they really have been. They can't hide it no more. These transits are showing you that. No one can hide. Even no one's exempt. That's the thing about finding groundedness and being grounded in all of this. Finding a sense of clarity, peace, and realizing, like, you know what? I cannot control that. These people who's on TV, none of that. I'm going to stay grounded. You okay? Get up and come in. You need to blow your nose? Let's come and blow your nose. But again, once y'all realize some people don't want that. And I had to learn that even through relationships and whatever it was. But it really started, when I started looking at it as a fruit, I'm like, not only is this person not rotten inside, but they don't want to nurture and themselves to get to that place where they see the importance on what type of fruit they're offering. So when you see people on certain platforms and so forth, and it's like, I wasn't always here because I was gravitated towards certain shit, especially like overcoming, like conquering like a lustful spirit, conquering other things. And that happened through the fact of having my kids. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, what? Having a lustful spirit. But the thing about overcoming spiritual warfare, or even spirits as such, is learning, like, hold on. This is something that has been plaguing or following my generation. For me to succumb to another loop. But in order for me to catch the loop, I had to realize when I did restrain from sex and be abstinent, sometimes it takes you to meet someone with the same fucking spirit, or with the same thing. Or sometimes it didn't even come off as if the spirit is stronger than you. But then as you realize, like, hold on, you start to recognize what's familiar, or what isn't progressing, or why you're not progressing. Because in that lustful spirit, that mother wound, I had to realize, they didn't start with me. Sometimes you have to realize, getting to the root of something. Who offered this type of fruit? How was I created? How was I created? And a lot of us don't even realize we inherit those things spiritually, which can seem like a curse, but we've inherited that. Your mother and father came together within whatever type of lustful spirit, whatever type of addictions and so forth. And just because you don't do it earlier, you may do it later and didn't even recognize it. Baby, just blow it. Ew. I saw that big snot. Ooh. We gotta blow it out. You want some more tea? Okay, I'll give you some more tea. But yeah. And so that comes with a different mindset, approach, setting intentions. That comes with discipline. Because that's what the inner work really is. It's just like a child learning to do something different. They go through shit. You bump your head. You go through things. That's why I keep telling people, y'all so serious about life. People so serious about being dysfunction and going out here, you know how they give us that shit, being a gangster, being a player, being all like this, then the consequences come with that. It seems rewarding in the moment, but then there's a responsibility that comes with, oh, you think you just having sex, but no one taught us about the reward is a child, but you was never given the awareness around seeing the child as a reward. That's why a lot of us was born from birth. It seemed like we were a burden to our mothers and fathers, and we were not. You're not a burden. You're not at all a burden, love. So we carry that mindset, or even those intentions. We've carried it with our children and don't realize that's wounding around all of that shit. So when I talk about fruit, when I talk about the spiritual things, you have to recognize there were fucked up things about your mother and father. There was things that was not in alignment. You are a part of that alignment. You are a part of that fruit that comes to offer something different to the world, not what's familiar. You know how they want to label you? Oh, you just like your mom, you just like your dad, or you just like people in your family. Some of that could be true. I could look like them, I could act like them, but you got to realize I'm individually me. I'm not them. I reflect them in certain ways, but to the core of me, I have my own individual mission and purpose. It takes courage to step out and not do what my dad did. And those who have been watching knows what I mean. My dad had the free will to be more present in my life, as well as my sisters and them. But when I realized how a lot of people have been running from the karma, the lessons of actually being present more, then they won't be able to see the reward. Because when you're evading or running from that which you created, you're running from the responsibility in what you created. So these niggas out here and people out here want to convince us to live a life a certain way, whether that be through their own self-hatred, insecurities, or promoting shit and so forth. They only teach you to be more irresponsible and not see the reward in being present. Seeing the reward in actually being in your kid's life. Seeing the reward in, do you not realize what the fuck you're doing? Your kids is watching. Do you not realize in your absence that you don't realize you see you think your reward is more on chasing the bag? Bullshit. Your reward is more on who can get the most women, who can do this, who can do that. Your reward, like what? The mental illness and even all of that. Your reward is trying to see who has the most money. All of that shit screams insecurities, a lack of self-sufficiency, stability. But the world will make y'all believe that just because a man or a woman, or a man specifically, doesn't have certain things right now, because you've cast this illusion, or you've been influenced by the world or somebody else, to just assume that just because he doesn't have this, that it's not obtainable, because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Man. Boy, have so many of y'all been fooled, influenced by other people to make you believe that that's someone else's narrative. Imagine that. Even people in the family. To make you think that this person, that's who they is, that's who they always will be. That's why they say never judge a book by its cover. And the thing that counters that, or the judgment that people get, is the same way they judge other people. Why y'all, and I've learned this, distractions are it's so easy to be distracted. Focusing on what that person doing, how they responding, giving your energy to this, rather than expanding on what you're trying to build upon. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I was telling someone the other day, man, I was like, bro, you're not going to catch me hanging with people that don't. If you talk about like-mindedness, why would I want to hang around people who, or be around people who don't prioritize their well-being, and more so neglect themselves and their children? That's a form of abandonment. And again, y'all been having these narratives and being influenced by people to actually tell you not to be there for yourself and your children, not to fight, not to do anything. Nah, bro. That's not the world I'm creating. for myself and my children. You know what a lot of people going through right now? A lot of these elders, a lot of people, they want so much their kids to be there. But they don't realize it's a part of their lesson in karma. Part of what I call forgiveness is not only forgiving yourself and making room to show up more for yourself, but forgiveness for other people is also the fact of them realizing that there's a bridge to repair things. You know how they say you burn a bridge? That comes with people repairing that bridge that they collapsed with their ignorance in showing up for themselves, loving on themselves, being who they are with integrity, taking accountability. So no one burned the bridge or collapsed the bridge but the person who didn't realize or won't ever come to the accountability of realizing, like, you're supposed to, in that what you've done, for some people, not all, rebuilding something. And that's how some relationships happen. Once something can happen where you can rekindle and reconnect, but at the same time, some things for some people, when you know that distance or certain things, this is why I tell you about people show you what type of fruit by what they offer, by what their actions, by what they hold in secrecy, by what they keep from you, breadcrumb, all these different things is a form of their character, which is a form of their fruit. And y'all keep biting that fruit. Hey, I ain't judging. It took me a few times to bite for some shit. So I realized, hold on now. I keep biting from this and getting the same taste. It's a little bitter. It's rotten. And that's the thing about looking at people in your life. Everyone that's offering a helping hand ain't offering some fruit that's beneficial for you. It's not healthy. I had to learn that. There's people in life who are so accustomed to fruit that is rotten, dysfunctionality, stuff like that. They're so accustomed to that. So guess what? They're normalizing. They don't care. They'll accept any type of fruit without the awareness around what they're getting. They'll do anything to survive. But the world will make you believe just because someone is doing something similarly, just because they're not watering their grass or watering themselves just like you, because their life don't supposed to look like yours, that you just assume that their life is rotten or they're not valuable. But my oh my, y'all have missed the bigger picture. Yeah, a lot of people, I'm telling you, sitting back and realizing how at a time where I wanted to hold on to certain people. And I'm gonna give you another just perspective. It's just like, as you're progressing in life, you may have less than what someone else had, or you may live in an environment where you know, but can you actually cherish the fact of, man, I'm not around those same people no more, or I'm not in that same environment, I'm not in that same country, I'm not experiencing the same, things that I would growing up. I was telling my partner, I said, listen, I would get hit in the mouth or get whooped just for talking back. My daughter the other day, she had a moment. Hey, baby. She had her emotions. That's free will. They authentic. Some people want to agree to this. I don't give a fuck, because I know what I grew up in. I grew up in people hitting you just as soon as you said something back, or just because they didn't know how to manage their emotions or navigate them. My daughter said, she just said something back to where I was like, what? I could have reacted, but at the same time I laughed, because I'm like, I had to learn to get to that place and not take it personal, but that's how she feels. She's expressing herself. Now, if I brought her around some family members, I know I would have had to take some of them out. They would have had to catch hands and foot, just because simply their mindset, simply because they don't know the depths of how deep I met myself, and how uncomfortable it is for them to be triggered by a child, just as they would be triggered by me. So when they haven't healed, they will literally lash out or attack a child that's innocent because they don't see their inner child as being innocent, because they hold on to things that plagued them or kept, Come on. You gotta get up, baby, so you can blow it. Come on, I've been telling you to come over here for the lungs. So yeah, just that lesson in itself will have people believing like they're entitled to do that just because of the false empowerment of what they feel is how they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be. No, man. And it shows, again, the piece that they're not at. Y'all give me one moment. So, yeah, just that alone, again, everyone doesn't have to agree to what you're doing with yourself, your kids, your life, how you want to live it. Because they will never see that as being sovereign or taking back not even taking back your power, because you're already powerful, but even standing in your power. A lot of people won't see it as that because they've been so, I keep using this word play, but they've been so programmed to believe that this is how they're supposed to live their life. This is all there is. And that's what's causing a lot of people suffering. Naturally, it's like when I look at what evolution is, I cannot stay the same even if I really wanted to. And it's like, as much as I used to want certain people to be in my life, that doesn't mean you cannot see people. But there was a video I came across too, is that once you start seeing things become more in tune with a spiritual eye, you start to recognize like the possibility. It ain't even just being paranoid. It's because that was a part of it, going through it, things when I didn't understand and overstand. But it was more so of the discernment. Like my partner was saying the other day, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I had discernment very young when I was a kid. When you used to pick up on things energetically about people." Yes, because kids are like that young. Kids are like this all the time. My son, my daughter do it all the time. But I be having to tell her mom, be mindful around like who you introduce kids to, what you bring around them. But also, you always speak covering over your kids, protection and so forth, because they're naturally protected by the divine. They're going to show you that. But when you didn't grow up in environments where people prioritize things and such, they don't care about stuff like that. You want someone to dry strawberries? No. You good right now? You just want some tea? You feel more relaxed now after your nap? Give me a high five. What was that? Okay. I'm glad you took that nap, though. Didn't fight it. You gotta always listen to your body. And see, that's another thing. Like, me saying that is just even encouraging her. Like, and then it's not even just saying it, it's doing it too. Because that's been one of the things that I've been going through naturally that has allowed my life to be more harmonious. Is realizing like I had to be removed from people who didn't prioritize that. Some people want to go live a life that's always out doing stuff, doing this, doing that. And the world is, again, forcing people to realize, like, even through all that activity, doing stuff and doing this and doing that, there's a time where your body going to tell you. I've been noticing that. With stretching more, listening to my body more, being patient, not overdoing it. Even to bring it into my personal world, like, I didn't even know what hemorrhoids were. I didn't even know this was something that was in my life. That again, like I tell y'all, stuff that follows you, like through your generation. No, I realized like stress. What else? Being more in tune with your body as you rest more or become more. So a part of taking care of your spiritual well-being reflects your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. There's nothing that outweighs the other. It's all a balance. It's all a form of what holistic is to me. It could be for other people, but I've noticed that with myself. I'm like, bro, the hemorrhoid things where I didn't realize, like, at a point in time, I say about a year ago, before the shelter thing that happened, I was just navigating through a lot of things emotionally, mentally, and so forth. Now, I naturally have strength, like just naturally from my grandfather, dad, how people just naturally have strength or physical strength. But I didn't realize like now, because a lot of things I told y'all don't show up until later in your body when you do relax more. And then you gotta realize with doing art, I was sitting down. So sitting on my butt more, again, that's a form of developing, they say, hemorrhoids or whatever. But now that it's has gotten much better and gone away, I didn't realize how much, like, the time when I was trying to navigate through so much spiritually, bro. I recognize it now that it was a lot going on, because it was a lot being thrown at me at one time, and I was only one individual. Gang stalk. It was a whole bunch of stuff. Dealing with letting go or walking away from my, not just leaving my hometown energetically, but leaving behind people, processing that. Oh, I'll go get it, baby. We got to wash it. But just leaving behind so much. So all of that in itself was a lot. Then my son wasn't here yet, but my daughter, re-entering her life. It was just so much at that moment, emotionally, mentally, and so forth, that things were even, her mother and I wasn't at the best of terms at that moment, because it was just so much from outside people and so forth. Basically, it wasn't as balanced within ourselves individually and so forth. And that's one thing about the journey, the healing journey, and doing shadow work. You just come more home to yourself and then become more focused on the outside world. Focus more on things internally than externally, or you find that balance. But during that time, I was going to the gym a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff. I didn't realize how much I was lifting, I just thought about this. Like, there was a time on one of my old videos where you do the sled push, and I was pushing I think I pushed like almost 600 pounds. It was like 580 something, 560 something. And I didn't realize, like, at that time, because if you're going, you're not recognizing that how much this can take a toll on your body. Like overdoing stuff. That's a form of what a wounded feminine can be expressed in overly doing things masculinity wise. That's why working, being an overhaul, excessive, whatever it is, eating, escapism, again, just a lack of balance. That's all it is, of being present. So I was trying to find my way escaping through that, just as anyone would do with drugs or anything else, sex or anything. So, but I didn't realize, like, later on, even through the shelter, I got more rest. But then, because at that time, it's a little, a little detailed or a little graphic. But I didn't know what it was when my, booty hole was bleeding. I'm like, because I didn't realize when I started researching more, learning about it, it's because something was in there, like, it was just something going in there to where also my diet and what I was eating, because that also connects to your spiritual well-being and so forth. I'm trying to find a balance with that. I'm not talking about perfect eating. I'm just talking about how the fact that things flush out. And it would be painful. And I was like, I didn't know what it was until more now being stabilized within myself. And then here, as I navigated through stuff, it showed up even more. Because this would remind me of a video where the therapist was saying, like, when you're so used to dysregulation, because we think that going and lift weights or going out here being an overhaul, we think that that's normal, and to regulate our emotions. I'm making you a tea, baby. Do you want to, I'm going to put a little cough drop to mix it in, okay? So, even with that, again, a lot of people don't realize, like, we think that's normal. That's what I was telling myself the whole time. But, bro, since I've been more focusing on myself, my well-being, that has X'd out a lot. That has also made me remove or the divine just naturally. When you talk about vibrating higher or just whatever it is, you can say that, or just whatever it is you subscribe to, I start to recognize like, yo, it just shows like this person isn't part of where I'm going, the lifestyle or the experience and so forth. And it just shows again what people prioritize. Nothing against them. It's just what they prefer. That's what they prioritize, to each their own. Just like even through the shelter experience, some of those people mentally, emotionally, and spiritually are fighting off things I had knew nothing about. I had to even learn to find balance in there because it was over 200 people. Some of the women, some of the men had families. You're talking about the energy there was so, we were talking about this the other day, the energy there was so heavy and dark. And I don't mean dark and evil, it was just heavy in the sense of when, just think about something trying to pull you into a dark space and keep you from actually like emerging or focusing on what you need to do. So that's why seasons are even important, because through transits, all of that connects to that too. Because through certain transits, that gives off a certain energy. Depending on the seasons, they give off a certain energy, like typically around let's just say November, whatever it is, depending on the sign that it's in or ruled by, things are more emotional. So a lot of people are more expressive or hold on to things, so then they can react rather than transmute or whatever. So again, through a lot of these different phases in my life, I had to recognize not only what my body was saying, but what my emotional body, spiritual body, mental, all of that connects, because we look at the physical, but it's also a part of all these things connecting to realize like how we show up in the world. And again, it's not about being perfect. It's about really, when you see the influence of people trying to tell your children to live a certain way and do this and do that, it's like, how is that in any way prosperous for your generation and even the generations after that? Like you actually believe you came here to suffer? That's what's so crazy. It's like you got people influencing your child, whether a rapper, politician, anybody else out here. Everyone in some type of way has some type of influence. Even children naturally, without even trying to prove it, the higher power that they come from, whatever they inherited, or like the Earth, Wind, and Fire said, a child is born with a heart of gold, they still have an influence on even the most wicked person. That either can trigger that wicked person to cleanse themselves, to focus on themselves, or to continue doing more wicked-ish. That's just real. And it's a balance. I'm waiting to cool down, okay? 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 Okay. So yeah. So again, I've learned more to where I've got more rest than I ever have been. And that's the thing that comes with when you're navigating through things. Is this a season for me to rest more? And in that surrenderance, you think you got to go out there and get this and do that, because that's survival. That's programming. But in resting more, you start to realize how things are given to you. You start to see how certain things are provided. I'll give you another example to where someone will call, oh, you just using that person, or you just doing this and doing that. Well, maybe it's a pattern for me to see, to recognize, like, if I don't want this to continue happening, maybe I need to learn what it is to be self-sufficient. Or maybe I need to see something in there that didn't teach me what it was from the roots, where in my stillness, in that surrenderance, the divine say, hey, I want you to reconnect to who you are in this stillness. It don't got to make sense to nobody else. Because in that stillness, in that surrendering state, in that season of your life, I want you to recognize your gift that is going to make you prosperous and abundant, that is going to expand through the horizons and reach people from nations, for nations and generations, hundreds and millions and billions of people. Can you stay consistent? Can you stay persistent? Oh, I'm already knowing. It's just like being a child. I know you're gonna make mistakes. I know you're gonna do certain things. I'm not asking you to be perfect in it. I'm just asking you to stay grounded, and stay balanced, and stay stable. Because in your ability to do that, I know you're gonna do certain things. That's what most people don't realize. Y'all been assuming that that's just a
a father in the spirit. There's also a mother. And through certain seasons, what I come into my awareness of is that the divine mother nurtures her children to come back home to that emotional state that has been lost in the world. And through that, she typically allows that to happen through her daughters. And I don't just mean the little girls, I mean through the mothers. And then y'all reconnecting to things ancestral. To where you see where the loss or the misplacement of sovereignty or authenticity or integrity or your magic or your sacredness, the things that were almost seem like taken, is now being restored and replaced with you. Outside of gender, but especially with our daughters and mothers, especially with y'all. And I'm just a reminder, because I also realize, as I've learned and seeing people who have take so much initiative and courage on making sure that our daughters are not fed, our mothers are not clothed, are not housed. They abuse their power spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. Did I say physically? That all connects to it. And so the warning has already been, the trumpet has already been, the coming has already been foretold of these times and these moments as prophesied. So those of you who are wondering and want to know what the divine mother is, you're going to see it play out. There's a force, that's a power that's being restored. And I know that some people are like, what? I don't even know what that is. No, because you've been bamboozled to believe that the so-called God or gods or like forces or entity, all these things you read about daily in your Bibles and your books and so forth, you've just been told that that's all there is. There's more to it. And there's always a higher power at play that comes along to remind people, humanity, and so forth. And those who know that are in tune, they just simply come here to do their mission and move right on through fearlessly. So again, that's that restoration that's happening. That don't make sense to people. It don't even make sense to, I'm telling you, for some of us, it's not going to even make sense to your partner, your spouse, and certain people, as you realize, like, it's a frequency thing. It's a vibrational thing. It's a thing inwardly that you start to realize, like, it's bigger than even, like, when your mission is more bigger than what financially, mentally, or relationally, whatever, business-wise and so forth, people can't bribe you on the physical shit, come with all this shit and try to tell you, oh, I come to offer this and support. You'll be able to be discerning. And plus, the divine will, the mother will also inform you or already told you about certain people that will come. Here you go, love. 1 moment. Here you go, bitch. Honey. Oh yeah, that was something else I'm gonna mention too. It's so funny because when she said honey and her tea, and it's also what I'm about to say is again a part of divine judgment, justice and judgment. Oh, that's good with that honey in there. Oh, that's good with that honey. See that? Ooh, taste that. Take that. Oh, that's hot. That's why I tell you don't do it too, man. Hold this up on there. Put your hand up on there. Yeah, baby. That's better. Just keep drinking. Yup. Huh? I didn't drink it. I put I mixed the honey with the spoon in the tea, so I licked the spoon after. I didn't drink it. I just mixed it around like that, and then I was like, "Oh, this good." Okay. outside. So again, daddy just sitting outside, okay? So again, with what I'm expressing has a lot to do with, hey girl. Oh, now you want to speak? My baby, my other baby here out here. It's my other baby right here. Hey girl, say hey girl. Hey girl. I'm going out here, girl, to get some of this sun, girl. I don't know what you doing. You sunbathing too, so this is what I was supposed to elaborate on too. So because my daughter is definitely the reminder, and the divine justice and judgment is a part of the fact of how our daughters and mothers have been treated, and that's generationally, ancestrally. And I even noticed through my daughter, even her mother, even through my own healing, like how restored they're becoming with their own sense of power and identity. Because again, a nation can rise, or nations can rise no higher than this woman. So I don't give a fuck who it is. Whatever leadership is in play presently is a form of toxic masculinity, or even not even just toxic masculinity playing out energetically, but a distorted father, meaning the representation of the men that are in place. They're distortions. And I don't mean just politically, I mean in sports, I mean all across the board. It's just what it is. And when I mean all across the board, I mean the game of chess. Because some people actually believe like they're more valuable than if people were represented by queens. If you put everyone is valuable on the chessboard, but it's just the fact of the significance, how they try to make people feel like they're not as valuable as they are when it comes to such as a game of chess, if I'm going to use that analogy, or even just this game of life. So when they don't want people to figure it out, that's when you realize you have it figured out. Then you learn how to play the game. Then you start to realize that your positioning in where you are presently plays a vital role in your position. And once you know your position plays a vital role, then you realize like everyone connected to you positioning is just as important. That's the beauty of alignment and partnership. That like I remind my partner like the other day, I'm like, you realize like in creating life with someone, you creating a bloodline. You come to clear out things that somebody else had the opportunity to, and then even after us, our kids. We're it's not even using an oversaturated word better. We're unraveling the secrecy and what the fuck has been hidden in our lineage. And it's not gonna look the same. That's the thing why people don't realize, like, unhealthy attachments will have you more codependent on thinking that you gotta stay and be with one person your whole life. Bro, that's such a fucking illusion, and so unhealthy, because that doesn't encourage one person to actually live out their purpose and their mission here, because everyone isn't to do the same thing. Everybody ain't here to stay around each other 30, 40, 50 years, because most of them people, what they're not saying in secrecy, most of them have either stepped out, have other people on the side, or most likely have been in something that either has been financially, physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive. Let's be real, because that's the thing that when you look at a lot of people, once they shit start coming up and out about their relationships, guess what ends up happening? They start to realize how abused they were. And most of the times that if it was codependent, it's mostly rooted in the fact of their inner child was abused, something in their childhood. And all of a sudden, now they want to follow traditions. Now these traditions got them suffering. Now all of a sudden, now all these things has been exploited because they've done it through tradition. And most of the time you start to realize through whatever you got married in, and then not realizing and seeing that shit as a spiritual contract, you were just focused on the physical aspect and not realizing it will never be stable or never secure. And then even if people so-called assume that they went out happily, because everyone, I'm not judging everyone's shit, because everyone, they could have, even some people who went out, oh, they was together 50, 60, y'all look at that shit on a surface level, 50, 60, 70 years. Man, some of y'all mothers and grandmas know they stayed for what? Because they didn't, a lot of those women and some men, because of, I told my partner the other day, warlike consciousness. They was at war with themselves. So in abuse, you're gonna threaten, almost do anything for that person to stay, especially for the sake of what? Property, for the sake of inheritance, for the sake of insurance, all of that shit. But what y'all don't realize is that even through all of that, the energy still fluctuates. The energy still is transferred to the next child, to the next grandchild, or to the next child that comes along and so forth. That's when you hear about karma, you don't outrun that shit. Yes, baby. What are you doing out there? You pee-peeing? Okay, go ahead. You wash your hands? Huh? Okay. But yeah. So when I see people all whatever flashy shit, man, like I said, that shit, bro, anybody can glamour somebody with some shit like that. That's why they put it in people's faces. Y'all don't realize a lot of that shit be glamour and don't realize what spiritually come with that shit. And a lot of people ain't secure within themselves. A lot of y'all mothers and fathers got glamored into some shit. They cast the illusion on your father going into the service. They cast the illusion on, oh, you gonna get this, you gonna get this, you gonna get this, all while being ciphering, all the while just thinking that you're a part of something that's so amazing and you'd be proud of. Yeah, I'm ruffling feathers because all that shit was fucking abusive. All y'all got y'all childhood wounds are preyed upon. This is what it is. How the fuck you don't see that as a form of abuse, trying to overtake something and conquer something that don't even fucking belong to you? None of this shit belong to me. If I leave this world right now physically, this jacket going to somebody else, these clothes, these shoes, everything. What I'm gonna be in the spirit mad like, man, boy, man, hey man, why you should have kept that, man? No, for what? Again, that's what's keeping people at a lower state, and as the consciousness expands and people come into what y'all call awakening and enlightenment, it's awakening to the fact of, for one, spirit reminds you that is beyond your legacy of just leaving things physically. What type of fruit are you offering even with being here? Are you cleansing yourself to even what you're leaving behind? Meaning, like, people have left shit behind and it's the shit that's attached to it energetically, emotionally, and so forth. That's why I've noticed that you see a lot of people don't even be wanting shit, especially when they can't wait till some people leave this world and die. I see some people like that. They get rid of everything. People be in marriages be so fucking miserable because they think it was just a physical contract. That shit was spiritual. You laying out with that person, spiritually intertwined, taking on what they taking on because nobody ever taught you that shit. Then you got folk, a lot of part of this cleansing when it comes to a lot of these bloodline things too is a part of certain things no longer being attached to people so that they live out, bullshit no more. No, man. Some people actually came here to realize, like, you know what? The divine got to cut everything loose for my lineage and for my family to progress, because this shit right here is like dead weight or whatever it is. Okay, then. So be it. Just in order for me to align with something that's more peaceful, more prosperous, more harmonious, more stable. Because a lot of things y'all think is stable, boy, y'all about to realize how unstable that shit really is. Like, again, if you pushing narratives for people not to prioritize their well-being, what's stable about that? What is stable about that? Nothing. Because whatever their energy will do, they'll wreak havoc anywhere else. So when you look at it, America, when you look at certain properties and lands and shit, countries, man, you sitting here wondering why your spirit troubled in the fucking environment. Or why you going places and wonder why certain things is the way it is. I wonder why. Lily, what you doing? Here. Okay. Oh, you was getting that. Huh? Clean them? Yeah. What, you want me to wash them? Yeah. Well, I got to put them in the washing machine.
Yeah, because Mommy found them outside. It was on the ground.
Oh, somebody dropped them or something? Yeah, let me see them then. If they dirty, Don't put...
on the ground.
Oh, yeah. You still need to wash them, though. But okay. But yeah, I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, a lot of things, like, in the moments we living in, is a part of the cleansing. Where you are, it may not seem like you was where you supposed to be. That shit be for protection. Did you drink all your tea, love? Drink your tea, love.
Yeah.
You want some more?
Yeah.
Did you go pee?
Yeah.
You wash your hands?
Yeah.
You wash your hands?
Yes.
Where the tea bottle
Over there on the table.
at? I mean, tea cup.
Can I have honey and honey?
We'll give you a little bit more honey. We gotta save some. You gotta save some. God, huh? Yeah, for the oatmeal. I gotta heat it up some more, okay? But yeah. So again, certain things want to fool you to think like you were progressing. Okay, baby. Like that you weren't progressing, but in reality, yeah. Certain shit wanted to keep you in the dark. Think about it, like that shit be deep when once you start to think certain shit wanted to keep you at a place of feeling like, oh, you're not gonna progress financially, mentally, emotionally, and so forth. Where again, y'all don't realize a lot of this monetary stuff when it comes to divine judgment and justice, especially with the matriarchal that's at play, you actually want to be on the right side of things when it comes to seeing a lot of this stuff play out. Because again, that which was first is now going to be last. It's just divine order. That which was abused will now recover and be restored. It's just like therapy. That's all I'm doing. I'm just like, a lot of this ain't supposed to be on some license and all that. No, it's going to be therapeutic for those that are, it's going to be therapeutic and like codes for people. They would want women to believe like, oh, you're not gonna, man, listen. The warning has already been said. Like I told y'all, y'all are seeing an energetic toxicity being purified. When you think about if our childhood wounds have been preyed on, I gotta leave with this. We are actually, like, if I had to say, like, you've been in an abusive relationship. Like, when you think about in a physical relationship, abusive, that's something internally someone's at war with. So think about the fact of the war, someone who's at war. Think about what's happening right now. A lot of us are, it's like Exodus, are literally being exited, like finding, it's not even escaping. Because some people want to think, that's why I keep trying to tell y'all, people that are, like, you keep thinking, that's why there's such a distraction. Certain relationships, celebrity, all that other shit. Bro, they are a form of being a part of the abuse of power. Because they're getting abused too, and some of them don't even know it. Yes, love. Oh, love, we know this already. I told you she wasn't here, love. But anywho, she's coming. She's about to return soon. But that's the thing. And when people aren't ready to evolve and ascend, because think about this, you can either ascend, like go higher within yourself, face things, or you can either keep trying to escape through them and fool and try to mask and fool the world. Do you need some tissue? Like to try to fool the world that nothing's going on. And guess what? It's going to be made very clear who is who. Because those spirits, those energies and so forth are going to reveal itself. And so that's what it is. Like, that was funny to me. I was like, bro, once you choose not to be a part of stuff, like to play a part, and then you start seeing yourself as the main character, now you start changing the narrative. Now you start directing. You start directing shit. Because at a time when people start allowing other people to govern their mental, to allow them to, this and this, be influenced and shit, you're not a director of your life. You're extra. Y'all be saying, look at such and such. Oh my gosh, you were extra name move. You excited about a motherfucker you never met. Just because you were influenced. How is it that somebody you never met, and when you think about your mother and father who actually gave birth to you, who energetically have more influence over your life, whether they were there or not, and that's why some of y'all are geared towards a lot of these people, because whatever you're battling with spiritually is something in you that sees an attraction, and sometimes you don't even know what it's attracting you. And that's why a lot of you, and I get it, because for real, this is something somebody needs. That's why a lot of you be lured to those celebrities or certain people. Even some of you give your shit energetically to certain people. You don't even realize your attraction. You don't even know why you're being fed off that shit. Oh, God, look at that. I was driving through the other day seeing people holding the flag. Then I seen people arguing back and forth. I was like, boy, this is that Aries energy. I'm seeing my world be at peace and seeing the fact of not even distraction. It's just seeing how the extras. I ain't even got to direct that. That's just an extra. And the whole time I'm telling y'all, I'm like, bro, you don't even know why you influenced by this person. Your mom and daddy didn't care about a lot of them people. But some of them did. Oh, that's such and such. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I give him. Oh, Lord. Oh, man, look at such. Boy, I love it. You don't even know why you saying that. Don't even know why you want to do that. God told me. Don't even know why. You just want to do it. Because of what? It's such and such. Man, what the fuck? I don't know what's attached to such and such. This is like any other woman. You don't know. Bro, fruit. That's why people gonna come out. You don't know what they done did to get that position. Player. You don't know what they did. You don't know what all little Jezebel did to get that position. And they too are not exempt. Nobody, baby. They too have played a role. They too have been fooled to believe that, oh my gosh, like, yeah. I don't see them no different than being ran up in and disguising and masking it, no different than somebody on the street. Now they mask falling. Like I told y'all, we are coming out of an abusive relationship. And then we gotta heal and be therapy. Like, it's therapy that gotta come from this. You just thought it was in your family. No, you are coming out of an abusive relationship with things spiritually, and then with these structures that were in place. Abuse of power. What do you think that is? You're coming out of an abusive relationship. Spiritual contracts that binded you to abusiveness, self-sabotage, self-sacrificing. All of this shit was built on that. Oh, you didn't know? I'm here to let you know. I'm here to let you know. You didn't know? I'm here to let you know. They would love for our mothers and stuff to be attached to certain stuff codependently, so they can never focus on themselves and heal, so they wouldn't see their children as also vital. Doesn't that say a lot? To keep the man or certain people out there doing things, to keep the masses of people out there doing something similar, because they could never regulate their emotions and, regulate their nervous system.
This is from Ireland.
Yes, we're going to Ireland. That is beautiful. Come on, baby, huh? It's hot. Get the right there. You go. It's not super hot, but love, hold this right there like you did last time, because that's not hot. There you go. And they be noticing your mind, body, and spirit. I'll show you. Yes, baby. I told you we're not gonna use all the honey. That's just the chamomile in there because it's strong. It's gonna make you feel better. You gotta stay hydrated. But yeah, that's why I ain't listen. On this journey, it's gonna take the right person. This is the patient. Because the world wants us to believe, oh, you only have to get a support from a celebrity or certain people in position of power. And why would you think they want you to progress, especially if you have something that can have a profound effect or influence or ripple effect on the masses? And even in their abuse of power, it still has happened and will happen. And the very ones who kept things from you are going to ones who going to want to be, who going to obsess and probably want to be a part of what you experience. It's like the spotlight you didn't want to put on someone because it was divinely orchestrated. It's like the divine taking the flashlight out of the person's hand or authority that they assumed they had because they abused their authority. Because this is all this is about. It's abuse. Abuse of power is abuse of authority. For you to think you have control over someone. And that's the thing I had to learn even through my daughter, through the lessons of the wounded masculinity that I displayed from the wounded femininity, is that even trying to control emotions is like trying to control the currency of the water. So when you think about currency, money flow, abundance, certain things like that, abuse of power, in the control of the abundance, however that is, spiritually, that authority has now been removed from those people, those people in places, and will be restored with people who actually sees that the birthright of people are supposed to be abundant. Because currency is like the riverbank. I was telling you about the bank and all these other things. There's an abundance of that. So when you think about the monetary system being connected to moon, money, currency, water, maritime law, how certain things get shipped in, how people are now removing themselves from the nations or certain things, is because you abuse your power. Not just America, but the people that were connected to it. The people that were graping America for the resources, and the people that were sending over here to also to be able to obtain things before the people that were indigenous to the land. Abuse of power, abuse of authority. So now things are being restored. They get sent back while y'all trying to fight back. No, because in effect of removing people who were on those lands, who were being abused, for the people to abuse the monetary system connected to that, to make sure that the people who inherit the land or were heirs to the land, make sure to have them believing like you got to have money to even get this. Well, what you think is going to come out eventually? The things that are connected to the land, the heirs to the land. Because a lot of y'all don't know behind the scenes, a lot of things that's been restored is more than just the land. And for some of us, just with peace, we're going to be able to walk away and build somewhere else. Because it's more than just land, it's resources. You got to realize that all the gold that you have seen or that was hidden, that, you know, all these other things, first came from the land. And guess who represents the land? Guess who represents everything that you see in the physical plane? Like, who, I'm gonna ask you, who brings forth life from the spiritual plane, from the spiritual plane to the physical plane? The woman can only do that. So what does that tell you? Her birthright, her sovereignty has been restored. Daughter Earth. Y'all call it Mother Earth, Daughter Earth. Whatever you want to call it. So a lot of things that were hidden is a restoration coming down the pipeline. Because anyone that's an heir to anything are those matriarchal figures, those indigenous women. And that which that people wanted to hold on to, because I told you water is currency. So can you hold water? No. So that's the illusion of power. Can you hold on to emotions? No. It doesn't matter how much you hold and repress and suppress. You might have suppressed it and repressed it through this generation, but somebody else gonna come along and ain't going for that. Shout out to Lilith. Shout out to Kali Ma. Shout out to all those powerful feminine energies that are making their presence known. Because, man, I wouldn't want to be in that way. I wouldn't want to be in the way of those energies. Because I was warned, and I ain't going through another spiritual ass whooping from my ancestors. Because pay attention to the matriarch or the women in your family. Yeah, they may have done things that y'all got to realize those things that were done to you, I'm telling you personally, I had things done to me that I had to recognize, oh, certain women in my family, if I had these gifts, if I inherited it, they too. Some of y'all been finding out about y'all matriarchal because guess what? You too hold the same power. It's you that is not standing in it. It is you, because your sovereignty comes through that. Not fighting physically, but spiritually. Peace and blessings. Shalom.